Oh, by the way. Boop. Hope it looks okay in the stream, in the video.
All right. I guess you're still here.
Wait, what? What's up? Yes, from 6.2 you'll be able to repair other people's gear. And you can do it anywhere as well. You can do it in dungeons, you can do it in trials, you can do it in raids. You can do it anywhere that you want to. Hey, we're just going to be reacting to this video about toxic positivity. I hope it looks okay. I tried to make it look different than most people would who react. We're actually technically in game still. You can find me at my house. Of course, you can't see Brian in my house, but yeah. So anyway, we're gonna take a few minutes to react to this video.
So welcome back. It means probably a few things. Maybe you like what I'm saying. You find it refreshing that someone's willing to talk about Final Fantasy XIV in an open and honest way and embraces the dislikes and all the reports that you guys are sending my way. Well, I thank you for each and every one of them. That's what fuels me, and that's what actually kicked off this whole series. Or you're generally just looking for a reason to be mad today, which is really stupid.
Yes, rage!
Like, there's probably a million things that have been uploaded.
I am full of rage and anger. I fooled nobody, right? Probably.
Right at the same time in this video that you can go watch. But if you're actively watching this because you're wanting to be mad about something today, this isn't the video for you. Go find something fun to enjoy your day. Also, content advisory. Warning for anybody out there who doesn't want to necessarily hear a grown man swear. So I don't blame you. I get it. I keep that off the main channel. I'm gonna go ahead and bring that here, so just kind of be warned for future videos, with the exception of guides. I don't think anybody needs that. You don't need a guide where you just drop F-bombs all day. Anyway, I guess the third possible reason why,
I'll be honest, people swear like crazy and don't know how to swear, so maybe they do need a guide for swearing. Just a heads up. Like, there is swearing and then there's swearing in a correct manner. Just for anyone that doesn't know.
While you might be watching this video is just general curiosity. You might not been subscribed. You might not, who knows? But for whatever reason, I guess the people who are just disliking these videos are only helping to boost them in the algorithm. So inadvertently, thank you. I think it's stupid. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The toxic positivity and entitlement of the Final Fantasy XIV community. But this actually has a twist to it. It's actually really positive. Patch 6.2 is in freaking sane. And I am just literally sitting here at the edge of my seat wishing I could cure stupid. But unfortunately, that's just impossible. It's an impossibility. People are drawn to it like a fire, like a moth to a flame. That's what I meant to say the first time. And so when I look at the content of patch 6.2, like, here's the two things that are going to really just frustrate me. I think one of them is inevitable. I think there's nothing we can do despite the over a year and a half of saying the Island Sanctuary isn't housing. I think you're still going to see people who are going to show up thinking it's Animal Crossing and housing. And despite how interesting that content, it doesn't look like it's content that's going to appeal to me. But
I am excited for Island Sanctuary. But everyone is going to think it's housing still. They can call it not housing. They could literally go, the quest could be, this is not housing. You're not housing. We have no house. And people would go into the area and go, oh my God, why can't I put my furniture down? But the problem is, though, at the start, they weren't kind of like saying everything. So people were very confused about Island Sanctuary. And even now, I actually personally think it's better than housing. Yeah, the only difference between housing and Island Sanctuary is the customization. But I feel like with the amount of different buildings and all the different things you can do in Island Sanctuary, personally, I much prefer Island Sanctuary over housing. But that's just me. Yeah, it's not a house, it's a timeshare.
Here's the whole beautiful thing about 14 and this video specifically, is it doesn't need to. 6.2 offers such a wide variety of content for such a wide variety of players. The inevitability that is coming with every patch that you kind of see, especially over the last like year and a half, it just seems to kind of have gotten tuned up just a little bit more online, is just this whiny, entitled nature. Like, you know, and I think 6.2 is going to be an interesting case study because it seems like it's going to be the balm, the ointment to really kind of apply this kind of level of cure, right? Oh, you're not really into savage raiding. Oh, have you tried Island Sanctuary? Oh, Island, like here, and here's where I see this a lot. Like, either Island Sanctuary is taking away from the raiding community, preventing you from getting savage and ultimate raids, which it's clearly not, especially this entire cycle. We might get even more ultimate raids this expansion than we have ever before, obviously due to some delays, but regardless, it's still, I think, freaking impressive.
I'll add to this. He's right, though. This, for anyone to think that Island Sanctuary is going to affect your raids, savage raids, or even your dungeons, for that matter, it's completely different teams that'll be working on completely different pieces of content. Yeah, the graphics team might work on both Savage and Island Sanctuary, but the balance team that works on the fights and the animations and stuff like that is probably going to be completely different team than those that are working on Island Sanctuary. Especially as we can see from now, currently at least, we don't know right now. A lot of the animals that you can capture are mobs from the overworld. So it's not like they've had to create anything unique asset-wise for Island Sanctuary when it comes to that. It'd be interesting to see how the buildings look. If the buildings are assets from other parts of the game, or if those are unique. If those are modified versions of current assets. Which, by the way, none of this is bad. It sounds bad, but it isn't bad. Because if you constantly make completely unique assets for everything in your game, not only is your game file size going to be horrendously large, you're also going to be wasting development time, because if you already made something that makes a base of it, like, it's not going to be exactly the same. You've already got the base of the design, so why delete that? You should use it and change it for the future. So Island Sanctuary probably doesn't affect Raiders at all in any shape or way, because it's completely different teams.
If you feel like Island Sanctuary is taking away from your hard, difficult content, well, not only are we getting a Savage raid series this patch, but we're also getting Savage dungeons, the thing that I think the community has been asking for over and over again, and Savage dungeons in a way that doesn't make it required. I love that we have optional content, and that's a kind of a key point that a lot of people I didn't make clear in the gearing video, is that there's no way they're going to overhaul the gearing system in 14. There's just too much structure. 14's this giant Jenga tower of a mess that ultimately you can't do a lot of things at the base of the game, because it makes the entire thing unstable, fractured and broken. So there's just no way for that. But when we look at Criterion and Deep Dungeons, it offers a way that they can experiment like they have with Bozja and Eureka, and I hope that we get to see that experimentation brought forward.
By the way, I'm secretly sad there's no Yuka and Bozja in this expansion. By secretly, I mean completely sad, and everyone who knows me knows that. Because anyone who knows me knows that I love both Bozja and Eureka. I probably love Eureka too much. Please help.
We've seen it with Lost Actions. I think those are great. The fact that we're getting those in Criterion, choice. But when it comes to the gear itself, I think that's another opportunity for them to experiment with that. But we'll talk about that more in detail. And I've got some scaling videos that I'm sure that ultimately, if you're here because you agree, there's going to be something I say that's going to challenge that expectation here pretty soon.
And that's good. I'm looking forward to that part the most.
Anyway, let's have some fun. So what I see though is that if somebody's complaining, hey, we're getting like Savage raids, Savage dungeons. Oh, but Savage Dungeon's too hard. I can't clear it. Well, have you tried Variant? Have you tried the other difficulty levels? And the Variant being the key end. Like, this patch 6.2 feels like it's going to be the patch that legitimately appeases the widest range of players. I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there who's going to find something that, you know, like didn't quite hit, and that's fine. Imagine getting upset over someone's opinion. What I get upset is the entitlement of the attitude.
Yeah, how dare they not have new ocean fishing in 6.2? That's what I want. New ocean. Where's our pirate fights that was promised, Square? Where's the dancing pirate fights during ocean fishing where we got out catch the pirates during the ocean fish? Where is that? I'm just kidding.
The whininess in the nature, with the exception of housing, because the housing system sucks. With the exception of that system, like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, 6.2 kind of starts to feel like the fulfillment of Yoshi P's promise about Square Enix sparing no expense. I know they've had to spend a lot of money on servers, but servers aren't the problem that we have in game right now. Servers are the problem pre-expansion, expansion, a little bit post-expansion, but right now, no one's hurting to be able to get in the game and play when they want to play, and that's just the nature of how MMOs and their the population ebbs and flows. It's very, very real. Now, in fact, somebody sent me a video by the Bellular Gaming team talking about the 14 population. I haven't watched it yet. I have an assumption that I'm probably going to end up really getting upset or upsetting a lot of people, because when it...
Oh God, is this going to be a reaction into a reaction video?
It comes down to the numbers. I just see this general toxic positivity, and not that Bellular and them are being toxically positive, but it comes down to like this self-aggrandized over, like, you know, emphasis on speak no, you know, like, do not say anything negative about this game, because like my entire worldview, my whole identity will come collapsing down. And if you are in that position, if that's something that who you are as a person, that these videos are upsetting you to that, I don't know A, why you're choosing to watch them, but B, you probably need to get some professional help, because that isn't necessarily a good thing. If like a comment or anything like that, you know, caused me to be like, question my entire self and what I believe, like at the end of the day, like, I don't think that's actually on the commenter. I don't think that's on the person with the opinion. I think if I'm going to let myself be affected in such a negative way by something that somebody says, especially an opinion about art, I think that's something I need to look in the mirror and kind of reevaluate maybe some of my life decisions. So I invite you to do that. So at its core, I really look at 6.2 in a very exciting way. However, it just...
Oh yeah, please don't take comments too seriously. But remember, this is going to be on YouTube, so please insult me in the comments below. Do it. I dare you.
There's this sense that it's just like this cloud that's overshadowing what it's going to be, and how when the content is launched, how like inevitably there's going to be people whining and complaining about that it didn't live up to the expectation that they set for themselves over 2 years ago or a year ago. And same thing kind of with the Savage Dungeons. Like, I'm really excited to see how the team implements it. I'm really excited to see what kind of feedback we can get. And that's kind of really where there's a weird line when it...
Okay, I'm really excited for the Savage Dungeons as well. A little bit more, a little less than you, it seems. You seem really excited, Brian. I'm, as I said, more excited for Island Sanctuary. That's just me. My Lalafell's always been, the story has been, he will eventually retire at a farm and live his life after, you know, like the not a farm, but like the little Lalafell Coast of the Soul. My Lalafell was always going to retire, live his life on the end of a beach at Costa del Sol. The island will do. So I'm excited for Island Sanctuary because of that. But I am also incredibly excited for the Savage Dungeons. I am worried about the gear drops. I do not know what we're going to get as a reward, because they did show chests in the dungeon. So I'm hoping it's not... It'd be interesting to see if it's Savage tier gear. The reason why I say it'd be interesting is because it's coming out a couple of months after Savage, and they do recommend that if you're doing the Savage Dungeons to be equipped with Savage gear. which means that chances are you're going to be already fully geared up when you do the Savage Dungeon. So if it does give Savage gear, that'd be it. By the way, the loot is also personalized. So now if it drops armor, it'd be interesting to see if it drops a coffer rather than actually an armor. The reason why I say that is because if it just gives armor, there's a chance that it might give you a piece of armor for a job that you don't have at 90. So that's going to be completely wasted to you. And if you're already in Savage gear and it gives you 90 stuff for the stuff that you already... if you already needed Savage gear to do it, and it drops Savage gear equivalents for the job you're playing as, that again, that wastes the armor slot. Yeah, that means it's glamour, which is good. So yeah, that's like, if that's fine then, I guess. But in my opinion, it should be a coffer that comes from the treasure chests. That way, if it is equivalent stats, you're able to use that on other jobs. Now, this could be an issue for people that like to farm Savage for alt jobs, but I don't know.
Comes to this, I know we're going to see people who are going to say like...
Zealous in our chat said, so the challenge of making it the rare mount minions tiles rare enough for all like the dungeon. Yeah, that'd be good. Like, I think that'd be a good idea. These
videos are entitled and whiny, right? Like, that's just their nature. They're not offering anything of value in that case. They're just kind of eating out, like their pointless opinions into the existence of the world. Much maybe like these videos.
Like Moogle Go Round. Go check out our podcast where it's always completely pointless opinions.
Yes, I don't give a shit. But at its core, when we start to actually break it down, it's like, are you offering like a way of improvement, or are you offering just a sense that like this sucks for suck's sake? And that's where I think when it comes down to it, like as a community, and I can do a better job of this, I think we all can do a better job of this, but I think a lot of it comes into this self-policing toxic positivity of not being able to speak about those opinions online. I think if we can get over that fear and we can push back against that toxic mindset, then ultimately we can actually get to a point where these thoughts actually then are critiques in the way of saying like, here's what it did really well. For example, here's what Island Sanctuary does really well. It would be really cool if it did X. And that's critique, right? And I think essentially if we can continue to encourage critique from a wide range of sources, not just from me, not just from you, but from everybody, and say...
I agree. Please, if you feel like you want to say something that might improve the game, say it. Like, don't be a dick about it. It's the best way I can say it. Like, don't say stuff just because. Like, but if you feel like it will improve the game in some way, please just... Nothing hurts by saying your thoughts on something. As long as you're expressing the fact that it's your thoughts and not a fact. Like, don't try and turn it around and say, Island Sanctuary sucks because it lacks golden penguins. I demand 2 golden penguins. Otherwise, it's not really the criticism that needs. But if you said, I would like more unique animals because the amount of unique animals in the Island Sanctuary is too low. Yeah. Now, of course, it's supposed to be a low spawn rate. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. But like that, I feel like that's a more of a fair opinion. That could just be me.
Everybody should have the ability to critique this game, to be able to share their thoughts on how it can improve, and have those thoughts trickle up to the developers, who ultimately will be the decision makers. Like, I'm not sitting here advocating that content creators should have the ear of the devs, or that raiders should have the ear of the devs, or that casuals should have the ear of the devs. I feel like everybody should have the ear of the devs, and then it's Yoshi P's responsibility and his team that he puts around him to make the best decision with the resources that Square Enix has allocated, which he says they'll spare no expense. So I'm expecting big things. But I'm also, that means that I'm going to be very critical and very vocal about those things. As somebody who supported this game back when people told me it was garbage and that it was crap, and that I continue to support this game now that people...
It was pretty garbage and crap back in 1.0. Shh, don't tell him.
Tell me that I'm crap for having the gall to think that it could get better. Well, you know what? That's just the world we live in, and that's just essentially what we're going to be doing here on this channel for a little bit. Now, ultimately, I don't think I have the energy to be constantly mad and frustrated. But I can tell you, I do feel a lot better having kind of just venting these frustrations out. So for those of you who are just the assholes who report and talk shit and you're just generally dumb, dumb motherfuckers who really just, have nothing better to do.
He said a swear.
I do appreciate you for kind of, I don't know, I guess giving me the permission to go ahead and just literally lay it all on the line, tell you how it is and how it's going to be. So anyway, I'm sure you've already bounced out and you're not hearing these insults unless somebody decides to clip it. And that's only going to be funny for me.
Ah, I didn't just clip it. I responded to it. Ah. In fact, you already know this because I tweeted it to you and said I might respond. But still, ha! Yes. And you also told me to make sure it's on YouTube, and so did a couple other people on Twitter. So I will make sure this goes on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Remember to follow us on twitch.tv and Google Grab Radio. With 1,000 followers, I have to be in a penguin suit.
To watch kind of y'all's reaction if that does happen. But anyway, I thank y'all for being here and for your time. Hopefully I didn't ruin your day. It's not my goal, but...
Yes, my day is completely ruined, and I have no more plans. Nah, seriously, thank you so much for this video, Brian. I know that you've gone into your villain arc, as you said on Twitter, where you're going to be, I don't know, stuff and things. I don't understand you being in a villain arc because it's you, but whatever. Anyway, by the way, now that we've ended the video, hi, Rick Real Bad Professor. Hey, Addy Khan.